All right, so today we're diving into Dark Matter by Blake Crouch.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, and we've got a ton of Goodreads reviews for this one,
Wow.
like hundreds of thousands.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so clearly a lot of people have some thoughts on this book.
People are talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So we're going to try to help you figure out if it's worth your time.
definitely.
And we've also got a summary of The Way of Kings, just to compare, different writing styles, themes.
Interest.
Yeah, just to give you a sense of,
Little context.
where this one fits in.
Yeah, I think that'll be helpful.
All right, so should we just get right into it?
Yeah, let's jump in.
So what's the verdict? Is this one worth the read?
I would say absolutely yes. Dark Matter is a big yes.
Okay.
If you're looking for like a fast-paced,
Okay.
really thought-provoking
Interesting.
sci-fi thriller,
Mm.
it is definitely a page-turner.
Okay.
It's something you could read
Right.
in like a weekend,
Okay, so like a weekend read?
Weekend read for sure.
Sure. Right, that's promising.
Yeah.
I'm not always drawn to sci-fi,
Okay.
but all those reviews have me curious.
I get it.
So what kind of reader
Yeah.
do you think would really love this book?
So I think someone who really enjoys like a good what if scenario, like
Yeah.
someone who really likes to think about,
Yeah.
parallel universes and choices that we make and
Okay.
just things that are both kind of like exciting but also
Yeah.
intellectually stimulating
Right.
without being, like too
Yeah.
overly complex.
Yeah, you don't want it to be like a textbook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so you think it's accessible?
yeah.
Even if I'm not like a hardcore sci-fi
Oh,
fan?
totally. I think so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I like
think
that.
Dark Matter takes a very like mind-bending concept, like the multiverse,
Well,
and weaves it into this really gripping story
Mhm.
about a physics professor named Jason Dessen.
Okay.
So, he's living this very ordinary life when all of a sudden he's abducted
What?
and wakes up in this reality where everything's different.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So his wife, his career,
Okay.
his whole life has just taken this completely different path.
So it's like a parallel universe situation.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and that's why I think people call it a thriller.
Right,
Yeah.
it's got that like what if element.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does this whole multiverse thing actually work in this story?
So
Is it like a vague backdrop or does he really dive into it?
I think he really dives into it.
Okay.
He kind of presents the multiverse as this like vast network of parallel universes.
Okay.
And they're all like branching off
Oh, wow.
from every decision that's ever been made.
Interesting.
So every time we make a choice,
Okay.
another version of us in a different universe
Oh, I see.
is making the opposite choice.
Gotcha.
And it's creating this like infinite
Yeah.
web of possibilities.
Okay.
And so in the book, Jason is essentially thrown into one of these alternate realities. And the story really unfolds as he tries to figure out what happened
Okay.
and how to get back
Right.
to his original life.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
definitely that mind-bending aspect that everyone's talking about.
Right.
But I have to say, the science part makes me a little hesitant.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to need a physics textbook to understand this book.
Understandable.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So did the reviews talk about that at all?
Yeah, they do.
So
They
that-
do. A lot of reviewers actually highlight how Crouch manages to explain these like complex ideas
Yeah.
in a way that's both like fascinating
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also easy to grasp.
Okay.
He doesn't like weigh you down with all this
Right.
technical jargon or complicated equations.
I appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
He uses clear analogies and vivid descriptions
Okay.
to really make the science relatable.
All right, let's get to know. Because I enjoy a bit of science in my fiction,
Yeah.
but I definitely don't want to feel like I'm back in school.
Right.
You know?
It shouldn't feel like homework.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's more like a spice than the main course.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there to add like depth and intrigue to the story,
Right.
but it never overshadows the human element.
Mm-hmm.
At its core, Dark Matter is about Jason's journey
Okay.
to reclaim his identity and return to the people he loves.
All right. I like that.
Yeah,
So it's got that human element too.
for sure.
Okay. And speaking of the human element,
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about the writing style.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about the plot. We've talked about the science.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what about the actual reading experience?
Right.
What are reviewers saying about Crouch's writing itself?
So that's where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
So the reviews are almost unanimous. in praising Crouch's writing
Okay.
for being incredibly fast-paced and engaging. People are saying they literally couldn't put the book down.
Wow.
Yeah, short paragraphs, punchy dialogue.
Okay.
It's got that, like,
Yeah.
edge-of-your-seat thriller vibe.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and one reviewer even compared Crouch's style to Andy Weir,
Oh, interesting.
who wrote The Martian.
Right.
You know?
Very clear.
Known for his
Concise.
clear, concise prose.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
I think Crouch adds a layer of emotional depth that really elevates dark matter beyond, like, a typical thriller.
Okay.
He captures Jason's confusion, his fear, his fierce love for his family.
Right.
And you really connect with his struggle.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just like a mindless action. Page turner.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, but hundreds of thousands of reviews.
True.
Someone must have had something negative to say.
You're right. There's always a dissenting voice.
Right.
A few reviewers found the dialogue a little cheesy.
Oh, in places,
I can see that.
especially some of the more romantic lines. But personally, I think it works in the context of a thriller.
Interesting.
You know, there are those moments of levity
Yeah.
kind of provide a nice contrast to the high-stakes suspense.
Okay.
Prevents it from becoming too heavy.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's all about balance, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, you know, we keep mentioning The Martian.
Yeah.
I am curious how dark matter compares
Sure.
to some of Crouch's other work.
Okay.
Like The Way of Kings, which we have a summary of. Obviously, that's epic fantasy.
Totally different genre.
Very different.
Yeah.
But are there any, like, thematic connections?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think while they're very different in genre and scope, both books really delve into the consequences of choice.
Interesting.
But Dark Matter is much more focused on a single character's journey.
Right.
You know, it's a personal and intimate
exploration of identity.
Okay.
It's really asking, like, if you could rewind your life and make different choices, would you still be?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
It's a big question.
Yeah, that's a really thought-provoking question.
Right.
And I feel like that's not something I've really seen explored in other sci-fi books that I've read.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Dark Matter kind of goes beyond
Definitely.
just like the typical action-adventure tropes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It does. It really does. And I think that's what makes it so compelling.
Okay.
You know, it's a thriller. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also a meditation on identity, on the nature of reality, the weight of our decisions. And here's the key.
Okay.
It doesn't offer easy answers.
Interesting.
It leaves you pondering those questions long after you've finished the last page.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, you've officially got me hooked. Yeah. But I'm picturing our listener right now thinking, this all sounds great.
Yeah.
But I am swamped.
Right.
I barely have time to sleep.
I get it.
Let alone dive into a doorstop of a novel.
Yeah.
So how long is Dark Matter?
Okay.
Be honest.
I will.
Is this a weekend read?
Okay.
Or a month-long commitment?
This is definitely a weekend read.
Okay.
It's a surprisingly quick read.
Really?
Just over 300 pages.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you could easily polish it off.
All right.
In a couple of sittings.
That's what I like to hear.
And trust me, with Crouch's addictive writing style, you'll be flying through those pages.
Music to my ears.
Yeah.
A fast-paced, mind-bending thriller.
Yes.
That I can actually fit into my schedule.
Exactly.
I'm in.
Ah.
Okay, but before we wrap up,
there's
one element you mentioned earlier. I can't get out of my head.
Oh, yeah.
This infamous box.
The box?
I know it can't spoil anything.
Right.
But can you tell us about its significance without giving too much away?
I think, let's just say the box is like central to the story's central mystery.
Okay.
And it plays a role in how Jason kind of navigates the multiverse.
Interesting.
Reviewers have said after reading Dark Matter, they'll never look at a cardboard box the same way again.
Oh, wow.
So it's an everyday object imbued with this extraordinary meaning.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's intriguing. And, you know, that leads perfectly into our recommendation section.
All right.
So for our listener who is now incredibly curious about Dark Matter, what's like the one takeaway you want them to have?
Okay.
What's the heart of this book?
Yeah.
Like, what's the question it grapples with?
So if you are looking for a book that will challenge you to think differently, about the choices you make, the paths not taken, and like the very fabric of reality, then dark matter is absolutely worth your time.
It's a wild ride. That will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew.
Wow.
About yourself and the universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
It is.
And it makes me think, if we could actually see those other paths, you know, those alternate versions of ourselves. Would we be brave enough to face them?
Right.
Or would we just cling to what we know?
It's a tough question.
Yeah, even if it means, you know, maybe missing out on who we could have been.
Exactly. And I think that's the real dilemma at the heart of this book.
Right.
And Crouch really doesn't shy away from exploring how complex that is.
Okay.
It's not a simple case of like right versus wrong choices.
Right.
It's about how every decision we make just ripples outward.
Interesting.
You know, it shakes not just our own lives, but also the lives of everyone around us.
Yeah. It's like a butterfly effect kind of thing.
Totally. It's like a web.
Okay, well, you know, it's interesting you say that.
Because one of the Goodreads reviews I read mentioned how dark matter isn't just a sci-fi thriller.
Okay.
But it's also a love story.
Interesting.
So I'm curious to hear your take on that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's definitely a love story woven into the fabric of the multiverse.
That's true.
Jason's journey isn't just about, like, scientific exploration or an existential crisis. It's really about the depth of his love for his wife and the lengths that he'll go to reunite with her, even if it means, like, traveling across countless realities.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder if love itself could be like a constant across all these different multiverses.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thought.
Like a force strong enough to bridge the gap between all these alternate realities.
I think that's one of the things that makes dark matter so brilliant.
Okay.
It just sparks these kinds of questions, you know?
Right.
These what ifs that just linger in your mind.
Long after you finish reading.
Yeah.
And it makes you really consider the power of our choices.
Right.
Not just for ourselves, but for the people that we love.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our listener who is now ready to dive into dark matter, what's the one thing you want them to keep in mind as they go on this journey through the multiverse?
Be prepared to be challenged.
Oh, yeah.
To have your perceptions of reality questioned.
Right.
And to really emerge from this experience with like a newfound appreciation for the choices that we make and the paths that we forge.
Yeah. And maybe think twice before opening a cardboard box.
Exactly right. You never know what alternate realities might be lurking inside.
Exactly. But on a serious note, it sounds like dark matter is a truly unique reading experience.
I think so.
You know, it blends sci-fi thriller, even a touch of romance.
It does.
Yeah.
All into this thought-provoking exploration of identity and choice.
Absolutely.
All right, well, there you have it, folks.
Another one down.
Another deep dive. Complete another book to add to your TBR list.
It never ends.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world of stories